I start creating a new AdWords campaign by selecting my campaign type. Because this campaign is going to be for search only, I will choose the search network only option. There are a number of other options for campaign type, which are all fairly self-explanatory in their names. You can always go with the default campaign type if in doubt. Selecting a campaign type is going to pre-fill a number of common campaign settings that are typical to the campaign focus. In this case, a search-only campaign. Next, I will choose a campaign name. For this campaign, I am creating a local campaign for dog training in Chicago. So that is what I will name this campaign. Name campaigns based on the overall focus that the individual campaign has. For multiple campaigns, try to keep the naming conventions consistent and focused on specifics of each campaign. This will help keep an AdWords account organized. Here I am going to choose the location in which my ads will show, in this case Chicago. Now my location is set to display ads only in Chicago. Next I'm going to select my locations options. By default, the target option is set to people in, searching for, or viewing pages about my targeted location. Because I am creating a campaign that is targeted towards people only in Chicago, I am going to change this setting to people in my targeted location. If this was a national or international campaign, I would leave this on the default setting to target people in, searching for, or viewing pages about my target location. Now I'm going to make an adjustment to the network setting by deselecting the search partners. I'm turning off the search partners for this campaign because it is a campaign for a dog training academy that is selling a service. If this was an e-commerce site, I would leave the search partners enabled to test. E-commerce sites tend to do better with search partners, and this option can be tested at any time. Next, I'm going to adjust the device's campaign setting. I'm going to deselect the mobile devices with full browsers. Mobile traffic is far different from traffic that comes from desktop and laptop computers or tablets with full browsers. The experience of searching the web is different for mobile devices than the other devices and should always get its own campaign, as well as a mobile-specific version of your site. For most advertisers, mobile device traffic will have a lower click-through rate, fewer conversions, and generally will end up making a campaign cost more. For this campaign and most campaigns, I will target only searches from the remaining two device types. Bidding and budget options can remain on the default setting of I'll manually select my bids for clicks. I always want to retain as much control over my bidding as possible. I do not want Google to adjust my bids for me ever. I set my default bid to $1. This amount is usually some ballpark amount that is what I would estimate to be a good general starting point for bids. I will adjust the bids as necessary for individual keywords after I have completed the campaign setup. I also will select my initial daily budget for this campaign. In this case, I want to keep my monthly spend at about $600, so I will set the daily budget to $15. The daily budget number is not a hard number, and the actual cost per day can go as much as 30% over the stated daily budget. Accelerated delivery method is the standard setting for the majority of campaigns. If a campaign is not running during all scheduled hours, the daily budget or keyword bids would need to be adjusted. If you so choose, you can create your campaign ad extensions now. Always use the applicable ad extensions. A local business, such as in this campaign, would want to use the location ad extension, site links extension, and the call extension. I usually choose to move forward and create ad extensions after the campaign is set up. Ad extensions can be created and modified under the Ad Extension tab in the AdWords interface. Under the advanced settings, I expand the ad delivery, ad rotation, frequency capping option, and under the ad rotation setting, I select rotate evenly, show ads more evenly for 90 days than optimize for clicks. Rotating ads will allow me to split test the ads I'm going to create shortly. Again, I do not want AdWords to decide which of my ads are the best. I will let the market decide. To do this, my active ads need to show more evenly rather than AdWords picking the ad it thinks works the best. Now we are going to create an ad group. First, we are going to name the ad group. The ad group is usually named consistent with the keywords that will be in the ad group. In this case, Dog Training Chicago and Dog Trainer Chicago. Next, I create an ad starting with the headline. I usually try to include the main keywords of an ad group in the headline. Then description line 1, which is often a benefit to a potential visitor, followed by a feature on the second line. Next, the display URL, which needs to have the same domain as the site included. And then lastly, the destination URL, which is the specific URL on the site that a visitor will be sent to. Here I will add the keywords to my ad group. I have collected a handful of keywords using the AdWords keyword tool and will insert them here. Notice I have taken only a few keywords and utilized the different keyword match types of exact match, phrase match, and modified broad match. Notice the lack of a full broad match keyword, which I rarely, if ever, use, due to that match type being too broad and displaying ads for irrelevant synonyms as determined by Google. I usually ignore the keyword suggestions offered by AdWords here, as I want to handpick my own keywords. Now I'm going to review my keyword bids and make sure they are enough to display ads on the first page of Google. It looks like my default bid of $1 was pretty close. I see only 2 keywords that need to be increased. Normally I will increase the bid to a bit more than the required minimum to put the ads in a higher ad position than the bare minimum, and to allow for competition increasing their bids. By going a little bit higher, it will keep these keywords active through minor fluctuations in the minimum bid. The final step to setting this campaign up is to create another ad in this ad group to split test against the original ad I created earlier during the ad group setup. For a new ad group, I usually will make the second ad completely different from the first ad to test out 2 broad messages and see which one gets the better response as measured by click-through rate and possibly conversion rate. The results of the initial split test will help to give me a more specific direction in which to create future ads and really hone in on what visitors respond to best. As you can see here, 2 ads communicating different messages. As data comes in, I will see which ad performs better, pause the underperforming ad, and create another ad to split test against the current winning ad. Now, this campaign is ready to run.